You have been walking for years with a shadow that no longer belongs to you. Look closely at it. The outline doesn't match the man you've become. The limbs are thinner, the posture weaker, the gaze turned downward. Yet you drag this mismatched silhouette through every morning, as if loyalty to an old version of yourself were a sacred oath. There is a quiet tragedy in that, the refusal to admit that something inside you already died long before you had the courage to bury it. And the world around you reinforces this denial. It whispers that you should keep everything, preserve everything, stay who you were, so no one feels discomfort. But Musashi taught the opposite. To step forward requires severing what no longer lives. Most people misunderstand comfort. They think it is safety. They think it is stability. They don't see that comfort becomes decay when it's clung to past its life cycle. You know this. You can feel the rot in certain habits, the stale heaviness in certain identities, the fatigue of pretending you're still shaped by old dreams that no longer speak your language. But you carry them anyway. Worn-out ambitions, inherited expectations, wounds you've rehearsed for so long they became a script you can recite without thinking. This is the weight you feel today, not the world's weight, your own. There is a subtle guilt in outgrowing who you used to be. Part of you feels like a traitor. You think that letting go means disrespecting your past, abandoning the boy who brought you this far, betraying the people who shaped your earlier chapters. But in truth, you honor him by evolving beyond him. He wasn't meant to be your cage. He was meant to be your beginning. And yet, here you are, standing at the threshold of a funeral you refuse to attend. The casket is open. Your old life is lying quietly inside it, hands folded, eyes closed, waiting for you to accept the truth you keep avoiding. It is already dead, and you, warrior, are the one who must lower it into the ground. There comes a moment in every man's life when he realizes that the battle he's been avoiding is not with the world. It is with the version of himself he has outgrown. Musashi understood this long before he ever drew his first blade. His first duel was not simply a fight for survival. It was a symbolic execution of the boy he used to be. When he stepped onto that dirt field, he wasn't fighting an opponent. He was fighting everything within himself that still clung to hesitation, softness, and the illusions of innocence. His victory wasn't over another man. It was over time itself. You have a duel like this waiting for you. It won't be announced. It won't come with a drum roll or a dramatic sunrise. It will arrive quietly, often disguised as a conversation you don't want to have, a decision you've postponed for years, or a realization that the life you built no longer fits your soul. This is the moment before the strike, the moment Musashi studied more deeply than any other. The hesitation, the trembling breath, the subtle fear that dresses itself as nostalgia. Nostalgia is dangerous. It convinces you that the past was warmer than it truly was. It tells you to return two versions of yourself that never actually worked. Your past is not your home. It is a battlefield you survived. Look at your life now. You know exactly which habits must die. The routines that numb you, the circles you've outgrown, the addictive distractions, the dreams you keep on life support out of pride. Killing them feels violent because transformation is violence directed inward, disciplined, deliberate. This is the spiritual blade Musashi spoke of. The edge that cuts away everything that weakens your spirit. But there is a mystery hidden beneath this brutality. When the blade finally meets the past, when you choose to end the version of yourself that has held you back, there is no thunder, no applause, no cinematic moment. There is only silence. A stillness that feels like the whole world is holding its breath as you let an old identity fall. This is the duel every man must face alone, and it is the only duel that will free you after the execution of your old life. There is an emptiness that stretches out like a scorched plain. Nothing familiar stands there anymore. Your old comforts have been burned away. Your old patterns have collapsed. The routines you clung to for years feel foreign now. This is the territory most men fear, because it forces them into a silence that mirrors their own unfinished self. But Musashi walked this barren land willingly. His wandering years were not an escape, they were a deliberate strip. He left behind identities, attachments, comforts, and even previous victories so he could stand naked before the truth of who he was becoming. In the aftermath, two forces appear at once: relief and dread. Relief that the weight you carried has finally loosened its grip. Dread because the void demands to be filled. Without discipline, the ashes drift into chaos. The modern world feeds this collapse. It offers you endless scrolling, endless distractions, endless ways to avoid the sacred responsibility of rebuilding. You've felt at this strange void after quitting something harmful. You tell yourself you'll use the newfound space wisely. Instead, you fall into the digital abyss, drifting through hollow hours. Musashi warned of this. Destruction without structure becomes decay all over again. What rises from ashes is not your new life. It is your new standard. Discipline is not punishment. It is the architecture of rebirth. It is the ritual that summons order from the ruins. Every morning you choose structure. You become the craftsman of your own resurrection. Every boundary you enforce becomes a stone in the foundation. Every habit you shape becomes a beam in the frame of your future self. This rebuilding is slow, almost imperceptible. You won't feel like a warrior. You'll feel like a beginner. But that is the point. All transformation begins with the humility to build again. The ashes are not the end. They are raw material waiting for your hands. Discipline is the fire that forges them into something worthy. And somewhere in this slow reconstruction, a mystery begins to emerge. The faint outline of a man you have not yet met, but who has been waiting for you all along. There is a quiet moment in every transformation when guilt dissolves. You stop apologizing for the man you're becoming. It doesn't happen with a declaration. It happens like sunrise, slow, steady, inevitable. You begin noticing that the people who once shaped your identity no longer understand the direction you're facing. You speak less. You explain less. You seek less approval. The growth feels lonely, but not empty. It feels righteous in a way you can't justify with words. This is the masculine burden Musashi knew intimately. To evolve is to outgrow the expectations of those who preferred the earlier version of you. Friends who once shared your weakness may resent your discipline. Family members may cling to a role you no longer play. Lovers may mourn the softness you had to sacrifice. And yet, something deeper calls to you: a clarity that does not bend, a direction that does not negotiate. Musashi abandoned the familiar world, not because he was cruel, but because he understood the cost of mastery. You cannot rise while anchored to people who fear heights. You cannot sharpen your mind in a culture that worships distraction. You cannot become a man of substance while apologizing for having standards. The modern world demands your submission. It wants you predictable, dependent, and harmless. It wants you entertained, softened, and endlessly connected to everything except your own purpose. But you feel something else, stirring an alignment, a seriousness that refuses to die. This is the shift from validation to clarity. You no longer seek applause for your progress. You seek alignment with your path. And when this shift happens, a pattern breaks. You stop explaining why you wake so early, why you work so hard, why you guard your solitude, why you refuse to indulge in distractions. Clarity has no need to be defended. It simply is. In this chapter of your life, you stop apologizing for walking away from the man you used to be, and slowly, you start to understand the truth. Becoming yourself is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of remembering. You are not changing. You are returning to something ancient within you, something that has always been waiting beneath the noise. There comes a day when you turn around and see your old self trailing behind you, not as a threat, but as a ghost. He wanders at the edge of your vision, powerless, weightless, fading. He tries to speak, but you no longer hear him clearly. His fears no longer control you. His desires no longer shape you. His wounds no longer define you. This is liberation, not a moment of celebration, but a quiet realization that the man you used to be has no authority over the man you are becoming. Musashi reached this stage long before the world called him a legend. His transformation was marked not by fame but by direction. He was no longer reacting to the past. He was moving toward something forward-facing, something that demanded his complete presence. He did not negotiate with the boy he used to be. He did not seek permission from the world he left behind. He walked with the calm confidence of a warrior defined by his path, not his history. You feel this now? Your routines have changed. Your standards have sharpened. The places you once visited feel smaller. The people you once followed feel distant. The temptations that once trapped you feel dull. This is the quiet confidence of rebirth, the realization that your past self could not stand. Beside the man you are shaping now, modern empowerment is subtle. It is not a grand speech or a cinematic montage. It is choosing the gym instead of the escape. It is choosing solitude over noise. It is choosing discipline over impulse. It is choosing a higher standard with no audience to applaud you. And each choice becomes a step away from your ghost. But understand this, your old self does not hate you for leaving him behind. He was necessary. He carried you to the door of evolution, but he cannot enter with you. He remains behind as a reminder, a shadow of a chapter you outgrew, a memory of a man who once fought to survive. To be reborn is not a metaphor, Musashi would say. It is a death you survive, and you have survived it. There is a life calling you, one you have felt in moments of clarity, moments of silence, moments when the world's noise loosened its grip long enough for your deeper instincts to speak. This new life is not something you invent. It is something you uncover, like a blade hidden beneath layers of rust. It has been waiting for years, perhaps your entire life. Musashi taught that a man's true path does not appear until he has buried the false one. Only after releasing old identities, old comforts, and old attachments does a man see the road that was always meant for him. The path shapes the man who walks it, not the other way around. And when you finally stand before this path, something inside you shifts. The resistance fades. The hesitation weakens. You feel a sense of destiny, not dramatic, not grand, but quietly certain. Modern life tries to drown this calling with distractions, obligations, and artificial urgency. But beneath all that noise is a direction that belongs only to you. A life that wants to be lived through you. A standard that wants to be upheld by you. A discipline that wants to be built by your hands alone. You have glimpsed it in the decisions that felt right even when they were difficult. You have tasted it in the moments when you acted from strength instead of fear. Let your old life rest. Honor it not by clinging to it, but by carrying forward the lessons that shaped you. Every version of you had a purpose. Every chapter trained you. But none of them were meant to be permanent, just as every sunrise demands the death of the night. Every new self requires the burial of the old. You are not stepping into an unknown. You are stepping into the life that has been waiting for you to grow strong enough to claim it. This is not motivation. This is remembrance. Somewhere deep within you, the warrior you were always meant to become has been whispering, calling, urging you forward. Now you are ready to hear him. Now you are ready to live.